like, what happens next?
Well, we're only stuck as long as a handful of Democrats decide they want to follow the leader and play politics rather than do the right thing on behalf of the American people and open up the government. That's where we are here. So we're going to vote again today. We have 55 of 100 United States senators voting to reopen the government. We need 5 more Democrats. It takes 60 to do most things in the United States Senate. And all we need is 5 Democrats. But their leadership is intent on pacifying and trying to appease this far left base. They've got this big rally coming up next Saturday, which everybody thinks they want to get behind them before they do anything to open up the government. But it's really straightforward. I mean, this is the legislation right here. It's 24 pages long. It is clean. It is nonpartisan. It has no policy writers, no partisan gimmicks. This is a straightforward way to open up the government. It has passed the House. It is sitting at the desk in the Senate. We can pick it up and pass it today. The president will sign it into law today. The government opens up, and all these questions about who gets paid, who doesn't get paid, which agencies and departments are going to be prioritized, those all go by the wayside. It is that straightforward. We are trying to open up the government. The Democrats are not. They are playing politics. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.
Look, my understanding of this is they have every right to move the funds around, duly appropriated dollars from Congress to the Department of Defense. There were some R&D accounts that had not been spent, and that's my understanding is that's the money that's being used to pay the troops right now. If the Democrats want to go to court and challenge troops being paid, bring it, okay? I'm grateful for a commander-in-chief who understands the priorities of the country, the necessity of national defense, and the urgency that we all feel and have voted for 8 times. Republicans have voted in Congress 8 times now between House and Senate to fund the troops and pay federal workers in all these essential jobs and agencies, because we understand the necessity of that. Meanwhile, the Democrats voted 8 times to block their paychecks. I'm grateful we have a president who is willing to step up and do the right thing. Thank you all so much.
Engagement to try to find
You're
common
right down
ground.
the hall from Mike Johnson's office. I know exactly where you are. You could probably take a few steps and go knock on the door and talk to him. Have you tried that?
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation with me or Leader Schumer, and he said as much earlier today.
So you don't think he would talk to you at all?
We can have a conversation, but the problem is that until they get the green light to actually have a meaningful discussion to try to find common ground and a bipartisan path forward and a willingness to address the damage that Republicans have done to the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, then of course any informal discussion is going to be not fruitful.
Sure, look, I intellectually understand why there's resonance with that message on the ideological left. However, I would argue that the slew of victories from Trump would suggest that that messaging isn't resonating with the American people broadly speaking. And I think in part is because of something that the former president just stated about the plight of Democrats and their inability to articulate things that matter at a human-based level to everyday people. And until they figure that out, the fascism, authoritarianism that may work in intellectual circles, it's not moving the needle with voters, though, I would argue.
Sure. What's up, everyone? It's House here today. I've been saying for a long time that the strategy that the Democrats are deploying is not very effective, right? From the gerrymandering arc, right? And I just found some news here. I want to break it here. Panic is worsening amongst Democrats after it sinks in that just how many Republican House seats will be picked up through redistricting by 2026. Because the problem here is, I talk about this all the time. Democrats started the gerrymandering stuff first, and Republicans didn't really play along. And now that there's so much built up political capital by the right, they feel comfortable enough to redistrict. And yeah, it's playing politics. As a conservative, I'll admit that to you. But guess what Republicans can say? Democrats did it first. Under the pretense, pretending like they're being objective. Oh, we have these housing committees. We have these redistricting committees. It's out of our hands. That they fill with a bunch of Democrats or people sympathetic to the Democratic Party. Votes are not representative in blue states. Illinois being the worst offender, right? Like at Massachusetts, you have what? I don't know how many people voted a Republican there, and all 10 congressmen that come out of that state are Democrat. Damn, that's some gerrymandering there. And there's a lot of things that could happen. The Supreme Court is considering ending the Voters' Rights Act, which is this bogus act where essentially you divide Americans by race, and you believe there's this flawed idea that if you put a black district, they're only going to vote for Democrats or a black Democrat. And this Voting Rights Act kind of law, I think, is outdated. I don't think it's no longer necessary, but hey, that's just me. But I do know from a political standpoint that Democrats can lose up to 19 seats if they continue doing this tick for tat. And in my estimation, Republicans can better justify their tick for tat because they're saying, yo, Democrats been doing this for decades and we're just finally playing catch up. We're finally playing the same game. And you can admit to playing politics, but also it dampens the criticism from the Democratic Party because the Democrats had a problem with this. Why did they do it? And now they're only mad because Republicans are playing suit. And this is the funny part. These are the strategies that backfire on the Democratic Party. And I think this is one of the reasons why many people see the Democratic Party as ineffective. I did a video, The Truth Behind Democrats' 20% approval rating. Some people agreed with me. Some people didn't like my commentary. But at the end of the day, it's hard to argue with facts and evidence, right? Because as you see from the positions that Democrats take, like look at the intro I just showed you. Democrats are outraged, or let's say not outraged, but they're concerned that Donald Trump is using funds that are already approved to go pay soldiers and essential staffs for tomorrow. At the time of me making this video, it'll be October 15th. Imagine that. Imagine being mad. Like, to me, this is not a good look for the Democratic Party. And let me know if you agree or disagree with my statement there that these are bad optics for the Democratic Party, that they would even fathom that somehow Trump redirecting funds that was already been approved by Congress is a bad move to pay people in the government who's working for free right now. Let's take a look.
How do you feel about these paychecks going out during the shutdown? I don't think anyone's opposed to people being paid, but people look at this and say this could actually extend the shutdown because it takes out some of the pressure points that might exist that would lead Democrats and Republicans to come together.
Oh, you know what? Of course I want our military paid. Of course I want federal law enforcement officers to be paid. There's a way to do that. I'm an appropriator. We should have passed appropriations bills. There's a way to run a government, and this is not the way to run a government.
How do you feel?
I don't think this is good for the Democrats. I mean, you have Donald Trump negotiating Mideast peace and flying to Egypt to oversee an agreement between Hamas and Israel. And meanwhile, Chuck Schumer is parading around the Senate, trying to stage a photo op. I mean, the split screen between actual governance of the Trump administration and just a Senate Democrats trying to figure out their message, right? Senator Van Hollen pointed out, or he called the expiring Obamacare subsidies a ticking time bomb that Republicans planted. They were introduced in ARPA, the American Rescue Plan, in 2021. I know, I was in Congress. We all voted against it on the Republican side. That was a Democrat budget reconciliation bill. It got to the Senate, and it needed 50 Senate votes. They talked about making it permanent, could not get unified Democratic support to make it permanent. It came up again in the Inflation Reduction Act. They kicked it can down the road. Again, solely Democrats voting in support of this could not get Democrats to agree to make these permanent. And now somehow, years later, it's the Republicans that are the sticking point. You were right in March, sir. Chuck Schumer should just continue to reopen the government. And right now, Donald Trump is having to take tariff revenue to support food stamp and WIC programs. He's reallocating budgets within DOD so that troops are getting paid. He's actually doing work, and Democrats are still figuring out their message.
I find it rich from the Democrat in the segment you just watched saying that this is not how you govern, right? This is not true governance. This is not true appropriations. This is not essentially the right way to do things. But I'm like, you have to ask yourself this question. How did B happen? What was A? What was the first thing to drop? Democrats not voting for the CR. Remember, they only needed 5 more votes. All it took was 5 Democrats to vote yes. And Donald Trump will lose all his ability to do what he's doing right now, reallocating funds from the tariffs, reallocating for funds already allocated for the DOJ to pay workers, soldiers, WIC, food stamps, and the whole 9 yards, right? And I think I agree with the guy, the former congressman from Michigan, Peter, I think his name was. I agree with his kind of framing of events is that Donald Trump looked like he's actually getting work done while Democrats are sitting on their hands. And you know the worst part about it? Democrats are only have themselves to blame for this. And I talk about how this was a mistake on their part. Chuck Schumer was right on March to just vote for the clean CR and have these debates with a fully funded government. Because now all you're inviting as a Democrat is extra scrutiny on your motives, right? On your causes, and why the hell are you putting American workers, right? American government, federal workers, right? That overwhelmingly vote for you right? Because Washington, 93% of Washington, D.C. voted for the Democrats. So really, it's mostly your constituency suffering for what you want. And Donald Trump wanted to cut down the government, right? Liberals have been complaining about, oh, the budget grew no matter who's president. Now Republicans in president. Now Democrats set up the Republican in a prime position where he can actually balance the budget, maybe. And Democrats are mad. Like, make it make sense. Like, Democrats right now, from a political strategy standpoint, I'll paint the picture for you guys. It's like a 6-foot kid, a 6-foot teenager in like 3 inches of water, not 3 feet of water, and he's like, oh, acting like he's about to drown, and you're like, yo, just stand up. Like, why are you freaking out? Just stand up. It's only 3 feet of water. You're 6 foot tall. Stand up. That's all Democrats have to do. You complaining about the power Trump has? On the 9th time they bring the CR, 5 more Democrats vote for it. Done. Trump loses all his ability to do what he's doing right now. But Democrats can't do it because they ain't fight long enough. Hey, this is a bad look. There's no way in hell Democrats can. I don't think there's, in my estimation, there's no way in hell Democrats can really come back from this. I think the Democrats have put themselves in a political corner while no matter what they do, it's a L for them. It's a risk for them. You fold now, everyone's gonna be like, oh, you folded too early, the leftists will say, right? If they take too long to sign the CR, Americans are gonna be like, so you put all these government workers at risk, right? You caused all this, financial hardship for all these federal workers. 93% of them likely voted for your party just to fold in the end. You should have done it sooner. So either they didn't do it long enough, or they didn't sign it fast enough. And that's one hell of a corner to be stuck in. But I digress. Here's some of the things that Mike Johnson is saying that the Democrats want to be on the table for them to come to the table and vote for the CR. Let's take a look.
And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa. And $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that. And
I think I can end this video with this. With every additional day of Trump's administration, it becomes much, much clearer that for the last 35 years before Trump, we have been governed by idiots, perverts, and criminals. Hey, I can't disagree. And you see it. You see it firsthand. Hey, Democrats have every power, every lever to free the federal government from being dictated by Trump, right? And they don't want to do it. Don't know their aims, don't know their purposes, right? They think that, this is normal politics. Oh, you want our vote, you got to put something on the table. And the Republicans keep saying, yo, there's nothing else on this bill. Like, what we're going to negotiate. So you want to put your stuff in, and then we're going to be like, okay, if you want to put your stuff in, let us put your stuff in. And then it becomes an even bigger thing. Now Democrats are going to go out there and say, oh, Republicans to vote for the CR, they want all these. Like, no. That's why the Republicans ain't negotiating. They're like, yo, it's a clean CR. Stop trying to add ish. Just sign the damn thing. Sign the damn thing. Where's the pen? Sign the damn thing. That's all. That's what Republicans are saying. And Democrats are saying, no, we want our stuff in there too on a CR. Hey, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I think Democrats, y'all put yourselves in quite the predicament. And I think many people are realizing that Democrats, they don't really, like I said, Democrats have this self-centered politics to the borderline narcissism. Self-centered politics. That's the Democratic Party. All those you heard the 50 to what, $22 million to Zimbabwe. Let me read those things again. Let me read it for you guys, because this is what Democrats are hurting Americans for. Speaker Johnson lists out insane Democrat demands to end the shutdown. $24.6 million for climate resilience in Honduras. So not even benefiting America. This is what you want to shut down the government for? Where's the healthcare stuff? Zimbabwe, you want $13 million to go there to their civic engagement? For what cause? This is what we're talking about, like, you know, money laundering scheme. This is what we're talking about. You're gonna pay $13 million to your friend that has a nonprofit or an NGO that deals in international whatever, and you're gonna give a cut of that to them. Is that what we're doing, Democrats? And this is what I'm talking about. Democrats first, America last. This is the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party's biggest problem, and you saw it in the intro as a summary, is that they don't know how to articulate and align their policies to having good outcomes for the American people. And a lot of Americans are waking up to the scam that is the Democratic Party. And this is why you got black liberal women like Tiffany Cross angry at the fact that there's young black people, young black males specifically, who's been getting all this heat, talking about how useless the Democratic Party is, how the Democratic Party don't really benefit America in some way. At least with Republicans, we get some benefit from them. Democrats can't really articulate any benefit, and in the long term actually hurts you, hurts your country, hurts your society, your culture, because of the ideology that they spew in the country. They defend transgenderism when it's a mental disorder, and they pretend that, oh yeah, everyone should be indoctrinated into this. Everyone should question biological reality. And this is the insanity that the Democratic Party embraced. And they still think delusionally that in 2026 they're going to be the ones to win it. Hey, America, that's what I'm saying, America. Power is the only thing these people understand. Until they lose power, they'll never really check themselves. They have to wreck themselves before they actually get the message. Oh, America doesn't want this. America doesn't want what we're selling. And I think it'll take them till they'll lose 2026 for them to actually get a grip. And even then, they're going to kind of half get it. And I think when they lose 2028, maybe they'll start figuring something out. But, you know, I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section below. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if it's so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.